I am pleased to introduce Nicholas Fiori as the 2021 student speaker from the New School for Social Research. I got to know Nick well as he pursued his studies. His intellect and energy have served him and the university very well over the past years. Nick completed his PhD in politics in fall 2020. His scholarship is historical and interdisciplinary and reflects a deep concern with issues of racial and social justice in America. His dissertation traces the connection between science and scientific progress on the one hand and race and racism in the US from the mid-19th century to the present. During his time as a graduate student here, Nick was as engaged as one could be with the university and its mission. He served as coordinator and coach of the Eugene Lang debate team. He taught in our undergraduate programs in capitalism studies and global studies, and he was a mentor in the social science research fellowship program at Lang College. Fiori was a fellow in the Graduate Institute for Design, Ethnography, and Social Thought, and he was also awarded the Alschult Award, a dissertation fellowship. Since 2020, Nick has served as the chair of the history department at Brooklyn Laboratory Charter School. I am very proud to introduce Nick Fiori as the New School for Social Research student speaker in 2021.
To reach this commencement in the spring of 2021 is undoubtedly an event worthy of joy and celebration. It symbolizes our commitment to significant research and rigorous study, an aim that unites the New School students and faculty. Our undertakings required hours of physical and emotional labor that is hard to quantify. For me, it took the form of the daunting task of writing a politics dissertation during an unusual but not wholly unique period of collective hardship. Now, in the late stages of the pandemic, it is clear that we have been in the midst of an ongoing social, political, and economic crisis, exaggerated but by no means initiated by a public health crisis. Non-white communities have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic's consequences. Many people of color were deemed essential workers, and thus were more likely to be exposed to the virus's contagion. While those already facing economic marginalization have borne the brunt of the quarantine's fallout with jobs deemed expendable. Moreover, for individuals whose futures are largely conditioned by their location at the intersection of race, class, gender, sexuality, and ability, the pandemic is only a recent addition to the long history of living and dying under the duress of racial capitalism. With this in mind, what perspective are we offered as graduates of the New School? Our commitment to the work of social justice and to critical research first drew us here, and upon our exit, the tools for grasping and responding to these crises will prove most necessary. Of the growth I have made as a thinker and as a person during my many years at the New School, as a student, teaching fellow, debate coach, mentor, research fellow, and more, it is the reward of interdisciplinary thinking that I take to be the most valuable. As a JIDIS fellow and as the Institute's program assistant, I reap the intellectual gift of the New School's diversity of thinkers, artists, and activists, each committed to making sense of difficult problems. Remember that this university has a long tradition of sheltering scholars facing dire political circumstances that threaten their work. We should take pride in being part of this legacy, and as the world appears to be reshuffled around us, find inspiration in its intellectual ethos. We graduate as part of an ongoing intellectual struggle. This is not the moment to rely on what we have learned or to rest satisfied with our commencements, but to rehearse the practices and rhythms of collective interdisciplinary work in whatever capacity we find ourselves next.